Jim, really appreciate you hopping on and sharing some of your perspective with anybody who's watching. If you don't
Yeah,
mind,
sure,
though,
absolutely.
yeah, thanks, man. First and foremost, I guess what is your name and what do you guys do?
Sure. So my name is Jim Kelly. I'm a co-founder of Crossbraining, and basically what we try to do is show that you have competency in whatever it is that you're learning. So our company works with people that are trying to show that either their employees or their customers understand what they are responsible for by creating small videos that our software chunks together and then stitches into one final video that can be commented and given feedback on. Basically, when we started working, as this company, we were in the K-12 space, and with the pandemic, we had to shift out of that and look to get into higher education and some of the trade skills, and any again area that's showing competency. We were struggling a bit with how to get into these areas and what to do to really make people pay attention, because there were so many other entities that were going into these areas as well. And that's when we met Adam. And he basically kind of took a look at what we were doing, refined that process a bit, really, helped us be a little bit more aggressive and do it in a way that didn't turn people off, but really didn't give no as the first option. The phone call was something that I think was most surprising with our group. We were relying mainly on email and then getting right into the deals. And when we got together with Adam, basically went old school, and he's like, when you see these numbers here and on your open area, hit them with the phone calls. And that's something that made a tremendous difference for our decreasing our churn rate and increasing the amount of people that we engaged with.
Oh, that's awesome, Jim. Thanks for sharing. And I
Yeah,
guess when you're saying the phone calls before, you never picked up a phone, you never actually followed up with a customer and followed a script to pitch them.
No, not at all. It was basically, I mean, the campaigns that we ran on the email campaigns, we had that script. But as far as picking up the phone, having those steps, the kind of what if responses as well, like if they're saying this, then respond this way. You really helped make it something that felt genuine for the people making the phone calls and increase that engagement. It was definitely something we were not doing. We kind of scoffed at the idea because we all hate getting phone calls from solicitors and thought everyone hated it. But we had some really good conversations.
I mean, you and your team, you're all educators, right? Even your sales guy, your co-founder, Josh, you're all in the system for a very long time. So never really had a sales background, right? You never really had
not at all
experience here. So I guess when thinking about, as an example, Craig, who was a teacher that then turned into somebody who was setting meetings, did you feel that, giving that roadmap, giving the direction made it a little bit easier or more comfortable for someone like Craig to be able to actually implement some of this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to what you were talking about with teaching, it was basically like a lesson plan, and that there was something that they could follow. It was something that made sense. There was a way to assess if you were successful or not. I think that, with the education background, it was something that we could easily understand the why behind that. And, the proof came out of it.
And then I guess when we're thinking about, so that's like the first step in the sales cycle, right? We built out these email sequences, we got them out to people, we looked at the data, opens and clicks, and we had individuals who were making calls now, speaking to those people. And I believe that teacher, he was actually booking one meeting a day at one point, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of varies on the campaigns that we're going after, but his engagement has definitely increased dramatically. His confidence has increased. Even the other day, when you reached out to him, he was telling us about, Adam reached out, to talk, and he was going into a basketball game or something with his kids, and he was trying to get off, and he's like, Adam just wouldn't take no for an answer. It was like he's like, and I know what he's doing. He's doing that same engagement thing that he taught me to do. And I'm like, dude, you taught me this. I know what's going on. And so,
I
just
love
really
it.
adjusted his thinking as well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And then I guess though, from setting the meetings to now attending, like, some of the things that we did in that perspective with Josh, who's doing majority of the closing meetings with the closing presentation and the forecasting sheet. Do you feel like that's been something that has still been utilized and is helping you guys out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think our biggest issue is still just the close. It's something that just takes more reps. It's Josh is a very relationship driven, type of person. And again, like you were talking about, all of us come from education. So that kind of, when do you close, how hard do you close things and push, is something that's just not natural for us. But it's through this process, it's definitely helped improve our close rate.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And I guess, what has exceeded your expectations, if anything?
Well, I guess I'm a person that has, pretty moderate expectations and not knowing exactly what to expect. I was looking for it kind of, you know what, now that I think about it, it really varies, right? It kind of depends the mood that I'm in and which lens I'm looking at it. If I'm looking from the perception of, we have a product that we believe in, people really seem to get excited about it and they see how it fits, I would expect that close rate to be like 100%. And I get frustrated that it's nowhere near that. But again, I don't have anything else to compare it to. So when I talk with you and other people that are out there, and they share their stories, I realize that that's just an ideal, that it's not the reality. So when I'm thinking from that expectation, I would say, well, no, didn't meet anywhere near it. But I think it's an unrealistic expectation. When I anchor it in a realistic expectation and look at what we see on close rates across the industry and engagement, then I would say that it exceeded the expectations from the point of view that people really want to talk. And when we go in more of the, hey, could you give us your feedback on this? Could you tell us what you think about this? Could you tell us how this might help you? Adjusting that approach a little bit, that really helped, I think, exceed the stickiness of continued conversations. So again, I think it's just reframing a little bit. And by adjusting the way that we're thinking and reframing, that is what exceeded my expectations. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think you're referring to the skilled questions in the script, not only for the outbound, but also when we actually have a book demo,
That's correct.
right? Actually asking, like, what is it that you guys like? Like, why are you on this call at all? When in the past, we never had that information, right?
We went right into the what. We went right into the product. We went right into, here's what it does. Look at this. And you kind of helped us adjust going that conversational longer, trying to understand their why before we go into the what and the how, I should say.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's really the goal. And to your other point, when people aren't saying no, right, that's not a bad thing. I know it's stuck, like it doesn't feel good because we're kind of stuck in limbo, but that means they like it, right? They like it, but that means there's still stuff left on the table. We got to figure out what's really holding them back. And yeah, you get some BS excuses, but still through that relationship building that you guys have been doing and are so good at, you keep building up that pipeline, right?
Yep.
And everything's going to start falling through. I guess my last question is, what would you say to a company that we're talking to and, is considering working with us?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely, worth the time. I think that you bring a genuine excitement, to what you're doing that's infectious and contagious. I think that it's, especially for us, we've joked before that we're stereotypical Midwesterners, and you kind of brought in something that we didn't have on our team. And it's genuine, and it's nothing that rings artificial. is just a different infusion of personality. And it wasn't, you've shared before with some other companies that you've totally, gone in and redid how they are doing things. For us, it was just kind of a retweaking, but just that adjustment made a big difference for us. And everything from, like I mentioned, from confidence to understanding that what we were going through wasn't unique to us. In the history that you have, the time that we spent together, I think is something that kind of gave us that booster to keep us going and to go down different paths and feel really comfortable with that. So I definitely would recommend working with you. I have nothing negative to say about our time together, and appreciate the relationship that we've built and look forward to see where that goes in the future.
I really appreciate you, Jim. And I love the product and what you guys do, obviously. I'm excited to hear about that round you're going to raise, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, man, great to meet you. Love our relationship. We're obviously going to continue to keep in touch. And I want the updates, right?
All right, man. Sounds good. Take care, Adam.
Thanks so much, Jim.
All right. Bye now.